When Judge Maria Reyes heard her disabled daughter's screams, she never imagined finding Emma covered in chemical burns from bleach in her bathtub. The HOA president's cruel act would prove to be her biggest mistake. Beverly Patterson had no idea she had just targeted a federal judge's child. And justice would be swift. Before watching, comment below from where you watching. Also like and subscribe for more Karen stories. The scream pierced the evening silence of our home. I dropped the case files I'd been reviewing and ran toward the bathroom, my heart pounding against my chest. The sound came from my daughter Emma's bathroom, a sound I'd never heard from her before, raw and primal. "Emma, I'm coming," I shouted, racing down the hallway. Emma was born with cerebral palsy. At 16, she had overcome countless obstacles with a smile that could light up the darkest room. My beautiful, resilient daughter who never complained despite the daily challenges she faced. When I burst through the door, the sharp smell of bleach hit me first, burning my nostrils. Then I saw her, my precious child, thrashing in the bathtub, her skin already turning an angry red where the water touched her. Without thinking, I plunged my arms into the caustic water and lifted her out, ignoring the burning sensation on my own skin. "Mom, it hurts," Emma cried, her body trembling against mine as I wrapped her in a towel. "I know, baby. I'm here." "We're going to the hospital right now," I said, trying to keep my voice steady even as rage and fear threatened to overwhelm me. I carried her to the car, called 911, and told them to meet us at the emergency room. As I drove, Emma whimpered in the back seat, the chemical burns already blistering on her delicate skin. "Emma, did you put anything in your bath?" I asked, though I already knew the answer. "No, Mom. The water just started burning," she said between sobs. At the hospital, doctors worked quickly to treat Emma's chemical burns. Second-degree burns covered 30% of her body, her legs, back, and parts of her arms where the bleach-contaminated water had touched her skin. The doctor told me she would need skin grafts and faced a long, painful recovery. As Emma finally slept, sedated by pain medication, I sat by her hospital bed, my judicial robes hanging and used in my closet at home. Judge Maria Reyes, known for my fairness and composure in the courtroom, had never felt such cold, calculated fury. I called our neighbor, Mrs. Chen, who had a key to our house for emergencies. "Mrs. Chen, I need a favor. Could you check if anyone entered our house today?" The security cameras were off for maintenance. An hour later she called back. "Judge Reyes, I checked the footage from my doorbell camera. It shows Miss Patterson from the HOA entering your side gate around 2 p.m. She had some kind of container with her." Beverly Patterson, the HOA president who had harassed us since we moved into the gated community 3 years ago. The woman who had fought against the wheelchair ramp installation at our front door, claiming it decreased property values. The woman obsessed with maintaining perfect property values in the neighborhood, who had once told me at a community meeting that special accommodations like yours make it harder for everyone else to sell their homes. I thanked Mrs. Chen and hung up, pieces falling into place. Earlier that week, Beverly had issued us yet another HOA violation, this time because Emma's specialized garden beds were 2 inches taller than regulation. We had argued and I had finally put my foot down, threatening legal action if the harassment continued. This was her revenge. But she didn't know who she was dealing with. As a federal judge, I understood the law better than most. I knew exactly how to proceed. With Emma safely under medical care, I made 3 calls, to the police, to my colleague in the prosecutor's office, and to my most trusted investigator. The investigation moved quickly. The bleach matched the brand found in Beverly's garage. Her fingerprints were on Emma's bathroom window, which had been forced open. Most damning of all, security footage from a neighbor's camera showed her entering our side yard with a container and leaving without it. Beverly Patterson was arrested 2 days later on charges of breaking and entering, assault with a caustic substance, and attempted murder. When the police led her away in handcuffs, the look of shock on her face was palpable. She clearly never expected consequences for her actions. "You have no idea who you're dealing with," she screamed as they put her in the police car. "Do you know who my husband is?" I stepped forward then, still wearing the clothes I'd had on for 3 days at the hospital. "And do you know who I am?" I asked quietly. "I'm Federal Judge Maria Reyes. And that child whose bath you contaminated with bleach? That's my daughter." The color drained from her face as realization dawned. While Beverly awaited trial, I spent every moment by Emma's side. The burns were severe, requiring multiple surgeries and skin grafts. My strong, brave girl endured pain no child should ever have to face. She cried during bandage changes, the damaged nerve endings screaming as the nurses worked. Each tear she shed fueled my determination to see justice done. "Why would someone do this, Mom?" Emma asked one night, her voice small in the dark hospital room. "Because some people care more about appearances than people," I answered, stroking her hair. "Beverly was more concerned about property values than your happiness or safety. But for every person like that, there are hundreds who care. Look at all these cards and messages you've received." The community had rallied around us. Neighbors brought food to the hospital. Emma's classmates sent videos and cards. Even my colleagues at the courthouse had organized a fundraiser for her medical expenses, though our insurance covered most of it. During those long hospital days, I worked remotely, handling what cases I could while ensuring I wasn't assigned to Beverly's trial. No conflict of interest would jeopardize justice for my daughter. I made sure the prosecutor understood every detail of what happened and the impact it had on Emma. When Beverly's trial began, I attended not as a judge but as a mother. I testified about finding Emma in the tub, about her screams, about lifting her burned body from the water. About the surgeries, the skin grafts, the physical therapy, and the nightmares that now plagued my once carefree daughter. Beverly's defense tried to claim she had only meant to play a prank by making the bathwater smell bad, not to cause injury. That she had no idea how much bleach would cause burns. That she had been frustrated by our failure to comply with HOA regulations, which she claimed was bringing down property values in the exclusive community. The jury didn't buy it. Security footage, forensic evidence, and witness testimony painted a clear picture of premeditated malice. Beverly had researched chemical burns online. She had waited until she knew Emma would be home alone for the 30 minutes between when her caregiver left and I returned from work. She had deliberately targeted a disabled child. The verdict came down, guilty on all counts. At sentencing, the judge, my colleague Judge Harrison, asked if I wanted to make a victim impact statement. I stood, looking directly at Beverly Patterson, who had traded her designer clothes for a prison jumpsuit. "Your Honor, what Beverly Patterson did was calculate the most vulnerable person and the most vulnerable time to attack my family. She didn't just cause physical pain, though those burns have required 5 surgeries already. She violated our home, our safety, and my daughter's trust in the world. Before this, Emma never met cruelty with anything but kindness. Despite her physical challenges, she saw good in everyone. Now she's afraid to be alone. She has nightmares. She asks me why someone would hurt her when she never hurt anyone. I'm not asking for vengeance. I'm asking for justice. I'm asking that my daughter can see that in this world, when someone commits a terrible act, they face appropriate consequences. I'm asking that Beverly Patterson has time to reflect on what she did and why she did it, and perhaps find the humanity she seems to have lost." Judge Harrison sentenced Beverly to 15 years in prison. As they led her away, I felt no satisfaction, only a deep sadness that someone could be so consumed by status and appearance that they would harm a child. The road to recovery was long and difficult. Emma's burns healed slowly, leaving scars that would remind us forever of what happened. The psychological scars ran even deeper. My once trusting daughter now flinched at sudden movements and refused to bathe alone. 6 months after the attack, we moved to a new home, one with better security and no HOA. A home where Emma could heal without constant reminders of what happened. We installed a therapeutic pool where she could rebuild her strength through water therapy, something that took tremendous courage after what she'd experienced. "Do you think I'll ever not be scared again?" Emma asked me one evening as we sat on our new back porch watching the sunset. "I think bravery isn't about not being scared," I told her. "It's about feeling the fear and moving forward anyway. And you, my love, are the bravest person I know." Slowly, painfully, we rebuilt our lives. Emma returned to school. I returned to the bench. And we both became advocates for stronger protections for vulnerable individuals against harassment and hate crimes. A year after the attack, Emma asked to speak at a community forum on disability rights and protection. I watched from the back of the room as my daughter, scars visible on her arms, wheeled herself to the microphone. "My name is Emma Reyes," she began, her voice clear and strong. "Last year, a woman put bleach in my bath because she didn't think I belonged in her neighborhood. Because my wheelchair ramp and garden beds didn't fit her idea of a perfect community. I spent months in the hospital. I still have nightmares. But I'm here to tell you that hate doesn't win. The person who hurt me is in prison now. But the real justice isn't her punishment, it's that I'm still here, still living my life, still pursuing my dreams. Her actions didn't define me. They didn't stop me. And my mom and I are working to make sure what happened to me doesn't happen to anyone else." The room erupted in applause. As Emma continued speaking, confident and poised beyond her years, I felt tears streaming down my face. Beverly Patterson had intended to break us. Instead, she had revealed our strength. She had meant to drive us away. Instead, she had galvanized a community around disability rights and protections. The legislation we helped draft, Emma's Law, was now moving through Congress, creating federal protections against harassment and discrimination based on disability. It included specific provisions against HOA discrimination and strengthened penalties for crimes targeting vulnerable individuals. As I watched my daughter speak that day, her scars visible but her spirit unbroken, I realized that true justice wasn't just about punishment. It was about transformation. Beverly's obsession with perfect appearances had tried to dim Emma's light, but instead that light now shone even brighter, illuminating a path forward for others who faced similar discrimination. In my years on the bench, I had seen justice served countless times. But never had it felt as meaningful as watching my daughter reclaim her power, turning pain into purpose and trauma into triumph. Remember, Emma said as she concluded her speech, justice isn't just what happens in a courtroom. It's what we create together, every day when we choose people over property values, inclusion over isolation, and love over hate. As the crowd rose to their feet in a standing ovation, I knew that we had won. Not just in court but in the ways that truly mattered. Beverly Patterson had meant to break us, but instead she had made us unbreakable.